I'd like to welcome everybody to the Community Development Committee meeting here on Tuesday, July 12th, 2020. I will get started. First, in the room, want to acknowledge our members. We have Councilman Tyrone Johnson, Councilman Cyril Jefferson, and I am Councilman Chris Williams. Wesley Hudson is not in the place, but I will follow up if he does come in. First up, we are going to receive a presentation of the 2022 Annual Action Report, and I'll turn the floor over to staff. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I am Nina Wilson, the Interim Director for Community Development and Housing. And we have this afternoon a presentation for our 2022-23 Annual Action Plan. And we will just go through the activities and things that we are looking forward to doing for this program year. As you know, our annual action plan is basically a strategic plan that outlines the sources and uses of funds that we will receive, as well as the beneficiaries who will benefit from our programs. And this year will be the third year of our 5-year consolidated plan. And basically the action plan primarily identifies how we will use our Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, funds, excuse me, as well as our Home Investment Partnership Program funds, or HOME funds. And when we look at our action plan, we have identified strategic goals within our 5-year plan. We have a housing strategy, which of course is to improve and increase decent, safe, sanitary, and affordable housing. A homeless strategy, which is of course to improve living conditions and support services for those that are experiencing homelessness or that are at risk of homelessness. We also have a community development strategy, which is to improve the living conditions, quality of life, and community facilities within the city of High Point. Our special needs strategy is to improve the living conditions and expand services and opportunities for those with special needs or who are disabled. An economic development strategy, which is to promote economic development opportunities through job training and job creation. And of course, our administration planning and management strategy, and that is to provide sound professional administration, planning management, and program oversight. For the 2022 program year, we have received an allocation of $907,786 in CDBG funds, which was a slight decrease for us this year. However, we did receive an increase in our home funds. We will be receiving $601,178, and so that was a pretty decent increase for us. If you look at our proposed sources, when we look at the CDBG funds on that particular line, we do include our program income as well as prior year funds. And for CDBG, we're looking at, between program income and funds that will be carried forward, about an additional $100,000. Now, on the home and the home program income, as well as prior year funds, you can see that that is quite a big leap from the $600,000. And so what has happened is, over the last several years, we have committed to projects that, for one reason or another, have not moved forward. So what we've decided to do this year is that we would go ahead and reprogram those funds. There were about 3 multifamily projects that actually we did not fund or didn't move forward. So we're going to roll those funds over into the current year and reprogram those. And of course, we have our general fund resources, the VITA program, and of course, North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. And this just kind of shows you a little bit that basically about 75% of our funding is federal. So when we look at our budget, there's a large percentage of it that is federal funding, and then of course next would be local support from the general fund. And when we look at areas of impact within the community, we carry out affordable housing programs, which would be our emergency repair programs, down payment assistance, the multifamily projects, as well as Operation Inasmuch, which you all will get to hear an update on that here in just a few minutes. Our community capacity building, which includes our public services grants, technical assistance to our neighborhood associations and groups, as well as the VITA program and the community gardens. And then, of course, strategic code enforcement, where we look at public nuisance abatement and minimum housing code enforcement. And for proposed uses, of course, I won't go through each one of these lines, but these uses actually are funding those 3 areas of community impact, or the impact areas, with primarily about 50%, a little over 50% of our funding being dedicated and allocated to affordable housing initiatives, whether it be homeowner repairs or down payment assistance in the multifamily housing. And we have not, this year, I will just kind of point out that we did set aside $500,000 for multifamily housing development. Right now, we understand that there are 3 applications that were submitted to North Carolina Housing Finance for low-income housing tax credits, but we knew that we wouldn't be able to commit to all 3. So we have not committed to any of those projects, but excuse me, but we did set aside $500,000 so that if 1, 2, or how many ever projects are awarded, we can actually participate if they need our participation in the project.
Does that, I'm just sorry, just a quick question. This is Councilman Williams. Does that stretch across multiple organizations with, like, for example, a housing authority would know? No. It's
this
is like private.
Right, two private developers. Of course, Winfield being one, and the other, I can't pronounce his last name very well, but it's Stephen. He's come before us before with Hartley Meadows.
Okay.
So that's the 3rd project.
Thank you.
But 2 are coming from Winfield and 1 from him.
Thank you.
And then when we look at our public service grant recommendations, what I do want to say about this is normally each year we fund $70,000 for public services. But this year, because due to COVID, we do have some of our nonprofit agencies struggling a little bit with capacity issues and things like that. So they have not been expending all of their funds. So because we will have some funds that we can carry forward, what we're going to do this year is actually fund all of the applications that applied. We will have sufficient funds to actually fund everyone that requested funding through our public services program this year. And that comes to $119,713.
Chris Williams again.
Yes.
Is that the grant, does that run through the CAC?
Yes, the CAC did. The CAC approved, well, I say recommend. They recommended the agencies up to $70,000. And when Michelle McNair and I looked at the grants that came to an end, that their contracts terminated at June 30th, we saw that there was going to be additional funding that would be available. And so I did want to recommend that we go ahead and fund all of those agencies that did apply.
And did any of these funds come from any COVID?
No, this is no COVID funding. We'll give you an update on the COVID grants at the next meeting. At our next meeting, we'll give you an update on that. Michelle and I talked about that today. And we do have some COVID projects that are lingering just a little bit and trying to get in some documentation and paperwork and that type of thing. But we will give you an update on those funds.
Thank you.
And then this is the schedule. Of course, we carried out our citizen participation meetings and community meetings earlier within the year. Typically, this plan is due May 15th. But HUD sent out guidance saying, do not submit plans until you actually receive your allocations. And we didn't receive allocations until May 13th. That's when they anticipated them coming out. And so that's where we sort of had to pick up, even though we had done the citizen participation process, we just picked up with development and completing the plan once we received the allocation. And so we're here before you all today. We have given a brief overview of the plan to the CAC, and then it will come before council on Monday night for a public hearing. And then depending upon whether there are comments or anything like that, and we need to go back and make any revisions, council could approve it Monday night if there are no revisions or anything, or we'll bring it back in August if there need to be any changes. And the plan has been made available to the public for a 30-day public review and comment period from June 13th to July till this Friday, the 15th. As of right now, we've not received any written comments or phone calls or emails or anything in regard to the plan. We do have it available at the library. We have it online, of course, in our office here on the 3rd floor and 4th Street. We have it in our 4th Street office as well. So we try to get it out there so that people can take a look at it. And that wraps it up. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for staff? You've answered mine.
Okay.
Do we take action on this? Like we receive it, send it with a positive recommendation?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So on that note, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
All right. All right. All in favor? Aye. And the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That motion passes.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right. Next up is an update on Operation Inasmuch Spring 2022 Washington Street. And I will turn the floor over to, how are you?
Yes, and I'm actually going to turn it over to Sophia Chris,
Okay,
Sophia Chris with Housing Consultants Group, and Jean Brown with Community Housing Solutions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Nice to see everybody. So we were really excited this past spring to put on our 10th Operation Inasmuch. This started, I think, 2016, and it was an idea that started in community development and housing. And it was a great partnership between the City of High Point, Housing Consultants Group, and Community Housing Solutions. And even though we had that quiet period because of COVID, we really have come back with a bang. We started in the fall, had success in the fall, exercising COVID restrictions. And the same thing this past spring. Councilman Jefferson was there to open us up and start us off. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jean Brown to talk about the specifics of the spring, but I wanted to give you the numbers to date. Of all 10 Operation Inasmuch, we have helped and assisted families in 144 homes and leveraged 1,333 volunteers throughout those efforts. So I think that's applaudable. We always get great participation from the city and council people represented in that district and the community's love. And I think that we have done a lot to really make High Point the single most livable, safe, and prosperous community in America. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Jean Brown to give you the specifics of our event in the spring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to do two things. I'm Jean Brown with Community Housing Solutions. It's great to be here. Excited to share. I really feel like community, which is common unity, you'll see it in this video you're about to see, but also it's, you know, the momentum we had before COVID, and then we had kind of a time with it when we weren't getting together much. The volunteers coming out made a huge impact, and I'll share some details, but if we can first, and do I just hit it then? Okay. So I'm going to play, there's a 5-minute video that we had that highlights Operation Inasmuch in Washington Street, and then I'll make some comments after that.
Hey, appreciate you coming out. Sure, why not? Oh, wow.
We're gonna blow a mattress for them. It'll be great.
Operation Inasmuch is a day of service. It was originally started from a church in Fayetteville, North Carolina, based on a Bible verse, Matthew 40:25, where Jesus says, "Inasmuch as you've done it for the least of these, you've done it for me." The city of High Point came to Community Housing Solutions And working with Housing Consultants Group, we've leveraged volunteers from the community and funding from the city of High Point to make Operation Inasmuch a day of service where we engage more than 125 volunteers with our staff and other people from the community to repair homes for families that live here in the Washington Street neighborhood. What's really neat about this event is this spring we're focused here on helping folks in the Washington Street neighborhood, but in the fall and every other fall and spring we're in different neighborhoods throughout High Point.
I definitely think that we're making a difference. You know, part of Pinnacle's culture is to give back, and we try to do that in a lot of different ways. I love that we focus on one community, and everyone in that community is getting a hand up. It's just really improving the quality of their homes to make their lives a little bit easier. I just think for any organizations that are considering volunteering for these opportunities, I would highly encourage you to do it. Pulling associates together from all different lines of business for Pinnacle really helps our associates connect with one another and enjoy the day and spending time with one another, and gives everybody an opportunity to give back.
I have lived in High Point all my life, and I enjoy it here. You know, this all I ever know. It was a plain, simple town, and I loved it. I'm telling you, I am so excited for this housing solution because they are godsend, truly a godsend. They patched up the ceiling where it had been raining in my house. They also patched up a big hole I had in my going down my stairs to my basement. And they also assisted me with some of my yard work. I was just so excited that they came and cut that huge tree down. Now I can see clearly that the tree is gone from all perimeters of my house. They put railing up on both sides of my front porch, which has been amazing, with assisting me getting up and down those stairs without always falling back, trying to catch hold, you know, to the brick. And seeing volunteers come out that day, I was just overwhelmed. It's just been a blessing to my community.
The work that was done on the house is amazing. It has made our lives easier, especially for my husband. He has paralysis on one side, so for instance, with the bathroom, it has helped him to be able to go in and out easily. They fixed the bedroom door, the bathroom door, they fixed the stairs. And that helped him too, because the side of the stair was chipped off, he could have fallen.
It's made a big difference for me to being able to go in and out of the house, because I walk on a cane now, and to have those rails out there really makes a difference for me going inside and outside of the house.
We welcomed the work that was done on the front sidewalk, because that was a danger, especially to my husband. I would have to walk with him when we were going out so that he wouldn't fall. But now I could go to the car and take my stuff and leave him there to walk safely and come to me. We could not have done this on our own, and we are grateful. And we hope that more people know about this program and be blessed like we were. The workers, they were very nice, very respectful of my home. Whatever they said they were going to do, they've done.
All the volunteers were very professional.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying to remember.
They're all about their business, very professional and knowledgeable, and got the job done.
Try this program, it will bless your life.
It improves your house, improves the neighborhood as well.
That's right.
When you see this coming to your neighborhood and they're offering this, please apply. This program has really helped me find myself again. I just got so caught, excuse me, but it has helped me find myself again. And I thank God for every volunteer that came out. This project, and it is in so much. It did so much for me. So I'm thankful. I am truly thankful.
I almost don't even need to say anything after that, but I just want to share kind of three things, and then I'll touch a little bit on the numbers. The first thing will be a question to you all. If somebody knocked on your door, or if you received a letter that said, you need home repairs and it won't cost you anything, would you shut the door? Probably, and just say thanks, but no thanks. I share that because between Sophia's organization and Michelle McNair in the city of High Point, letters go out, door-to-door knockings, and then I've walked down some streets, building bridges of trust in the community, because there's a lot of people that, especially older adults or disabled families, which many of the families we serve are older adults that we serve there. There were some younger families as well, but building bridges of trust in the community is a huge factor of what we do. And the first thing that we do is listen to the homeowner in terms of what they really need. And some of it is painting and just cleaning up yard brush that for whatever reason they haven't been able to do for different reasons. And so we love it when we have that opportunity. But we also get it, what are some of their critical needs that they may have? And it's been my pleasure in doing the assessments before we even started the work is to have that conversation with the families. And then when they realize that it's actually a real program, and that's why some of the questions asked is, would you recommend this to other folks? So we want to use this video when we get ready to do West End and all the other neighborhoods. It helps to build kind of bridges of trust. But the tears that I see, which are tears of joy, when they realize that we can actually help them. The couple that was on the screen, the Hunters, very timid at first, weren't sure if we could do anything. And the husband, who's paralyzed on his left side of his body, has been struggling. His wife's getting in and out of a tub. You saw the grab bars, but they had a tub. Now they have a walk-in shower. And the wife wasn't going to mention it, but all of a sudden he goes, oh, would there be any way you could put in a walk-in shower? And she looks at him and goes, no, don't ask him that. We're just thankful for what. And I said, is that something that would help you? And thankfully with the funding and the things we had, we were able to do that. So it's not just repairs, but it's the accessibility modifications. And so that's been really special. The other thing is, a lot of times, whatever someone notices in a house, that's kind of the tip of the iceberg, there's something underlying that's the root cause of it. And that's why what we do, working when we go out there and we go and assess it, we'll ask them what they need, but we go into crawl spaces, on roofs, in attics, and look at the root causes. And I just wanted to share, because for whatever reason, this particular operation Inasmuch struck me that we used volunteers on a lot of the work, but there was also some underlying things that we were able to do that really is going to help the long-term livability and health of the home and the homeowner. One homeowner, she wasn't in the video, but she said, I got this crack in my wall. And it seems like something's dropping. And I could see a little bit of a crack, and she thought it was the roof. I said, no. I said, if there's something going on, it's underneath the crawl space. And I went underneath the crawl space, and she had termite damage. Thankfully, they weren't active. But she had termite damage on about 14 feet of her girder underneath the house, between two piers, and those walls were sagging. And we went in with our staff. We were able to do this with our staff after Operation Inasmuch, and replace that girder, so her house is not going to be there much longer than it would have been with all of those problems. We had another older adult. I said, do you have any plumbing issues? She said, no. I still felt like I was supposed to go into the crawl space. I crawled about 50 feet under the crawl space, and she had water coming behind her, the plumbing pipe, galvanized plumbing, which if you know galvanized plumbing, it rusts from the inside. She had a galvanized plumbing pipe with about a 12-inch just rusted piece, and it was all coming down and into her crawl space. And water in your crawl space leads to mold and mildew and respiratory issues. So we were able to not only repair things that you saw in the video, but also some other things that are going to really help the longevity of their homes and be able to stay in their homes. So just some really neat stories. And our tagline for Community Housing Solutions is rebuilding homes, but also restoring hope. And that's some of the impact we had on the Miss Hanlon, who talked about how her life was changed. It inspires not only the homeowners to do more. She was out with her son and daughter doing work in her garden because she said she loved gardening. And like 2 weeks afterwards, I drove through the neighborhood and she was outside, where she wasn't because of the tree and some other challenges. And then it also inspires neighbors in the community. I call it the ripple effect. You all help us touch, in this case it was 12 homeowners, but the ripple effect with other homes around there is impactful as well. So really neat from there. And then the last thing I'll point out is what I call the magic ingredient or the secret sauce, which is the volunteer groups that help. I saw so many hugs between homeowners and volunteers over the course of the days that we worked. And just to give you an idea, you saw Pinnacle Financial Partners, which they brought out the largest group. They had 25 volunteers. And they actually came out before Saturday. There's Shelley Stark, the Triad or the executive for the area, said, can we do a weekday? Because that's easier for me to get volunteers out, staff out, and I'll give them the day off instead of Saturday. So we had them come out on, I think it was Wednesday before the Saturday, and they brought out, like I said, 25 volunteers. We were actually able to work on 3 different homes. But some other groups that we had out, Immaculate Heart of Mary, Forest Hills Presbyterian Church, Triad RIA. I don't know if you've heard of this group. RIA stands for Real Estate Investment. Let's see, Triad Real Estate Investment Association. They're basically people that are owners or investment of rental properties. So what a beautiful picture of them who they own rental properties and have some skill, and they're helping homeowners in the community. So that's a group that's come out. The City of High Point and the neighborhood associations had some folks out volunteering with us. Covenant Church, Good Works North Carolina, which is a business networking group, came out and helped us. High Point Rotary Club. This is the first time we've had the High Point Rotary Club out. One of their members was the principal at a high school that has courses that specialize in carpentry. I can't remember the high school. I'm not sure which one it was. But one of the teachers brought out students, high school students in the carpentry program. And I don't know if you noticed, there were some railings with pickets that were built in the front. That actually wasn't in the work write-up. But that day when we had those students, Britt, one of our staff members, ran out to Home Depot, got the lumber, and those students, because they had more capacity, they built that thing. So it's been really neat to partner with some high school students that have interest in carpentry. And then we had Bank of America. I was working with them, and what a neat visual when the volunteers from Bank of America, when we came up, and the first thing I do is introduce them to the homeowner. The homeowner is a bank customer of Bank of America, and her bank manager or relationship manager was that woman that was there. And so they're like, I know you, and I didn't realize you lived here, whatever. And they put 2 together. So wasn't it neat that they had a business relationship, and yet she was helping her on that house. So really had a great spring event. And like I said, with COVID, last fall we had some volunteers come out, but not as many as we had, but we really, and hopefully COVID keeps coming back in little waves. and we're never going to get back to complete normal, I know that, but definitely this felt like some of the early operation, in as much as when there wasn't a fear of COVID, when we had all these volunteers out, and what we were able to accomplish was really incredible this past spring. And so we put together this flyer that just kind of gives you a summary. We had 12 homes with a total of 18 individuals living in those homes, 131 volunteers. The dollars contributed by the City of High Point was around $100,000 for the homes that we did. We had some big things that we did with those homes. 837 volunteer hours. When you leverage that, if you go online, it's around $21 an hour for volunteer labor is what they calculate. And so that's the $23,000 of leverage volunteer. That's not paid out of the High Point funds, but kind of in kind. And then just has some pictures from the day. But I hope you can share the video, or however we can share that amongst the community. I think it would be great to be able to do that. Any questions for me?
Questions for the committee?
Chairman Williams, I don't have any questions, but I do want to just speak for a moment on how much I love this effort and this initiative. Going out there back in April was my first time ever going out to Operation In As Much. And it being right there in Washington Street, well, in the areas that surround Washington Street, a number of the folks there, some of the residents I'm familiar with. So I was actually sent to a home on Hobson Street where one of my former students lived. And I hadn't paid attention to the name when they were saying where you were going. I just kind of went. So when I went, it was good to see them because I hadn't seen them in years and I hadn't seen their grandmother in years. And what they confided in me that day of just what they were dealing with and the appreciation they had for the volunteers, they talked glowingly about the way the head volunteer, and I think he's actually a staff member here, and I'm forgetting his name.
Billy Caudle, right? Yeah, Billy Caudle.
Billy Caudle.
Yeah.
They spoke glowingly about the way Billy was so respectful, how Billy did everything as if it was his own home, like the kind of pride going above and beyond, to your point, wanting to not just say, you know, how can I check a box and get out of here, but saying, how can we do it the right way? How can we share just, I mean, it was so good and it was so genuine, the appreciation that was on the faces and within the tones of the residents there. So I love it. You all hear me talk about responsible revitalization of our city, where we're a city that's got this rising tide, and I feel like with efforts like Operation Inasmuch, are doing our part to ensure that every boat can rise with that tide, and that's huge. Because as you say, it's not just about the homes; it's about the hope, and that I think that's probably the most profound thing about it all.
Corporate meetings to talk about how we've been able to do this, and I was like, well, we have a great municipality that wants to do more. And not that $100,000 is a little bit of money, but it really, really has a huge impact. Huge impact, so they're already waiting for this video. I don't know what they do with the video, but they're running me down for this video to make sure that they can share it with other areas. So I really think this is a model, and I think that as we free up from COVID a little bit, it would probably be one of the things on our agenda to make sure that we share it. And if other places across the country want to duplicate this, I think this is a model as a best practice. So you can really applaud yourselves for that, because they are actively looking for this video, and they're always calling me, asking me, when you having another one, and where's the video? So thank you for the effort that you put in, and we're happy to be a part of it. One thing, though, from the logistics standpoint, Jean makes a point. People do not really believe this is real. We've done 10 of them now. We still have a little bit of a problem getting buy-in and engagement. So whatever you can do with this video, whatever you can do in West End to help us have an even bigger Operation Inasmuch in October, that would be great. So thank you.
Any other questions, statements?
Oh.
Go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, since you mentioned Miss Turner, you probably met Miss Turner. She had knee replacement surgery, so she wasn't so she now has a walk-in bathtub.
Oh, wow.
And I could feel the floor. So here's another, because you reminded me of this when you mentioned Miss Turner, because we didn't do that on, doing a bathroom conversion, you can't do in one day. Even though the commercials with that West Shore home say you can do it in one day. He doesn't work in homes that have, it's not just a clean bathroom, you got floors and everything else. I went underneath the crawl space, and thankfully I'm still able to get in crawl spaces, but I went underneath there and I'm looking at her floors, and they ran their washer. Thankfully I wasn't underneath. The washer backed up to the bathroom. Their washer drain line went right into the crawl space. So I told them, do not wash your clothes because you're flooding the crawl space, but we ended up repairing the walls backed up to each other, so we tore the whole bathroom out, repaired the lines so that her washer now, she can use it, but she now has a walk-in bathroom that she can get in. The floors are solid, she can step in, because she said, Gene, I can't take a bath. And not anymore with her knees the way they were, so she's relieved. And the other thing I wanted to share, the exposure, and Sophia's right, the more we can get it out into the community with the homeowners, but the other thing that this has really blessed us with is our development director took some people from the Foundation for a Healthy High Point out to see some of the work we were doing in April. And I don't know how widely it was publicized, but we just, about a month ago, we got an $89,000 grant to do a program we call Aging Gracefully. we partner with occupational therapists and nurses and our home repair specialists, and we go out and assess accessibility modifications needed for older adults over the age of 65. And so that's $89,000 that's being invested in High Point for any older adult over the age of 65 that could use accessibility modifications. So we're really excited about that, being able to expand that program with that specific funding, so.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
How do people apply for that?
I don't have one of the brochures, but they would call our office to the Aging Gracefully program. Yeah, they start by calling Community Housing Solutions. So anyone over the age of 65, call Community Housing Solutions. And
August,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah, now Operation Inasmuch West End is a little bit different, but are you speaking specifically of Aging Gracefully?
Aging Gracefully.
Yeah, for the Aging Gracefully program, and it's anyone in Guilford County, but the special thing is we got specific funding just for High Point that'll really allow us to expand it. And we partner with senior resources like Meals on Wheels. We send out flyers through that program. But anyone that's over the age of 65, they just call Community Housing Solutions, and then we refer them to Cone Health that does an assessment, a telephone assessment, to make sure they have activities of daily living that they're not able to do on their own. So can they get on and off the toilet or in and out of the bathroom and in and out of their house? And based upon that survey, that qualifies them for not only accessibility modifications with Community Housing Solutions, but home visits with an occupational therapist and a registered nurse, so that we're not just blindly doing that. What I like to say is an occupational therapist is actually writing a prescription for accessibility modifications. Yeah, yeah.
Great. Look, I don't know what else. I've been saying things about Operation Inasmuch since its inception for, I believe it's been that long already, but the thing with me when it comes to this program is the long-lasting impact in communities. You know, yeah, we still have issues with getting people to believe it's not a scam, but I still run across folks we helped in the earliest projects and still saying, yeah, man, this is great, my house is great. I still, on occasion, still see the gentleman that you helped that had a rotted floor, galvanized piping, was cooking his meals on the grill in the backyard and washing his dishes with a water hose. And he was disabled, but
Yeah.
now he is still working and functioning in his house, and he's still grateful. And that was many moons ago. So, but just, this is what we run into every project. It's, you walk into a place and you're surprised that someone in High Point lives like this.
Yeah.
And the transformation in their lives just from this help, and then the community, and then I've seen communities that continues to look cleaner versus what it was before. So yeah, it's on and on and on, and I can't say enough and can't be grateful enough. And it just seems like the story just continues to get better.
Yeah.
So yeah, South Side, let me know when you're door knocking. I don't know. I still say people don't. I've been doing this I was telling the manager earlier, for going on 8 years, folks still don't know my face. But I'll be glad to put it out there and help knock doors. So you just let me know if I can help with that. We'd be glad to walk with you to do that.
Yeah.
But once again, just can't thank you both enough. Can't thank the Community Development Department and more, and the city staff also, and all the volunteers that have over all the years that's helped us. So thank you.
Full disclosure, this works because Gina and I are not getting any crossways. Gina's a crossways guy, and it works well because that's where most of the problems are. So it's great to have a great relationship, a working relationship.
That is true, very much true.
This, if I may,
Sure, please.
this is Councilman Johnson. I just want to say, honestly, this video blessed me. And I just want to thank the volunteers, you guys, because we're giving hope to people who think there's no hope out there at a time where it's really, truly needed. And so I see why people are asking you for the video, because it blessed us, I know, in here. So I know it's going to bless out there. So thank you.
Okay.
As a side note, guys, just to let you know, I took a couple of years of carpentry under Mr. Nathaniel Bowes and the Andrews back in the day, and I'm telling you now, I got my refresher course doing the work with them. I learned how to fix it. I was with the old assistant manager, and we were working on a porch and pulling up wood and everything, and as you know, I find myself doing that work in my house. So just,
Bowes, yes.
yeah, it's a plus. It really is a benefit. But thank you again. That's all I have on the agenda. I think if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.